Hello, 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 and what's up? So, welcome to our Modern Gamer podcast. Today, we have an amazing guest with us, and as always, we are going to talk about real life obligations standing in the way of gaming. How does the modern person, how does the seasoned gamer balance real life obligations with their will and need to game? With us today, please warm welcome to Sanjin Cultus. Sanjin is a person that I've known for like the last almost 16 years, and I will let him introduce himself. Sanjin, thank you.
First of all, thank you for having me here on your podcast. Like Amar said, my name is Sanjin. Friends call me Cultus because, well, gaming. As far as titles go, the order of importance: father, husband, environmental and social impact assessment specialist, social supervision specialist, and a gamer, of course.
Wow. Quite a lot of things before the gamer
Mouthful,
part.
yeah, definitely.
So, where is gaming for you? I mean, when we originally were, I would say, much more close to, age and everything, you were an avid gamer. But where is it today for you with everything that you just mentioned?
Gaming has been and is for, well, past 31 years. For me, it has been a integral part of my life. And it is to this day, even with all the obligations and all the things that I have going on in my life. I'm a father and a family person, and then, of course, the business person. The gaming is integral part. Why? Because it is my blow of steam. As I imagined in a lot of your guests, gaming is precisely that.
You are very right, and that is like a really good take. It's like a blow of steam, especially considering that you, as a father, which is like a 24/7 job, I assume, then also your profession in itself is also demanding your focus, attention, time. You don't really have so much time left over, and then also your wife and your husband needs. You don't have so much time to say, okay, now I'm going to play basketball, I'm going outside, because there's always something else demanding your attention. So gaming does become your steam
Release.
blow off and release and everything. But one thing that I do know about you and is a bit more than gaming itself, because usually my guests are the digital games, the online games. You have taken it a bit to the OG level, I would say, and you are heavily into board games, right?
Oh, yes. Amongst all those titles, I forgot to mention, and yeah, I'm Dungeon Master, Game Master,
Wow.
however. Yeah, that is actually a passion of mine that evolved just before the COVID situation and stuff. And yeah, it evolved pretty heavily, I'd say, because in that period of COVID, we all looked for, how shall I say, additional motivations to game in a way that I wanted something else, something new. And game industry in that period was like not very much interesting to me. D&D is something that I wanted to try for quite a few years, but then it is extremely hard to find group here in our country. Then we were able to find groups online. And yeah, since then I've been playing, actually right before then, but in COVID, I've been playing actively D&D. Not just that, I was buying all the books, I'm painting miniatures, whole 9 yards.
That is indeed amazing, especially because board games in itself, especially D&D and those D&D-like games, what I know of them is they are extremely complex, not because the rules are hard to understand, but because there are not so many rules in itself. It's pretty open to the dungeon master or game master to create the world. And you being one, which is honestly really amazing. How hard is it to get into board games today versus pre-COVID era? Because what I understood from your speech just now is that COVID actually enabled board games and communities to form online and then play, I assume, also remotely online.
Definitely. Like I said, if we wanted to play real life Dungeons and Dragons, it first of all requires of you to have either extremely well developed imagination or visual, how should I put this? Visual assets that can help you create image in your head, like miniatures, maps, and stuff like that. That is very hard to come by here in Boston. During the COVID, a lot of virtual tabletops rise. I mean, I got to know them, like Roll20 Foundry and stuff like that. And right now, it is, let's say, very easy to go in, dive into the tabletop games because of the accessibility. Now you just have to know certain websites to go there, and you have visual assistance, you have virtual dice roll, which of course that will compare to the real life dice rolling and the sound of clack 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 those dice is rolling. All in all, it is very easy to go in. The problem is keep it going because people tend to leave the groups, and group cohesion tends to break after some time.
Yeah, that is definitely an issue because it requires dedication. And to my knowledge, like those campaigns that you usually play, it's not like a 45 minutes game. It is commitment to an adventure. And now many people either lose the will. But my question to you is, when you are like the dungeon master or the game master, how important is it for you that the people that you play with bring a sense of like their imagination of how the world should be versus just them going with the narrative that you have set up? So is it an issue where like people tend to implement some rules for themselves or just some weird decisions for their characters that don't really make much sense, but they insist on it? So how hard is that people managing aspect in a Dungeons and Dragons games?
That is one of the most important aspects in Dungeons and Dragons by far. Why? Because I mean, a lot of guys that play seriously Dungeons and Dragons know that. I mean, not just really generally tabletop game, know the importance of session 0, which is a session where you get to meet your dungeon master, players, setting, characters, and stuff like that. The worst thing that you can any tabletop game is that you start to metagame to like act like yourself and not like your character. Basically, Dungeons and Dragons, any kind of tabletop game is acting. And if players resolve that they are not Fanny or Amar, they are Rana Ashmore, my character for 7 years, or something else, then you have some great foundation to have amazing campaign. Of course, then there is another aspect where Dungeon Master, which is role and job as it is, has to bring in those characters out of the player, because just to achieve that, you need to engage players like they are their characters. You have to throw at them things that would happen to their characters, not to them as players. So it is extremely complicated to be a dungeon master. For about last year, I haven't been hitting the games because some their professional obligations. Because for one session in Dungeons and Dragons that lasts approximately 4 hours, that's like normal time slot. And we play once a week, maybe bi-weekly, depending on the group. You need to at least 5 days to prepare a session. And that is if you know what you're doing.
Wow.
And you always get that moment when you plan for 5 days, come to the session, start what you were planning to do, and then everything falls apart and you have to improvise for 4 hours. That is
What is the reason that it falls apart? Is it like due to something that you couldn't foresee, the group not really vibing with the idea that you had, and now you're like changing things on the go, or what's the reason why it fails?
For example, what shall I pick as an example? Okay, let's say that it plans for group to cross the bridge.
Okay.
And there's some element of engagement in bridge, whether it will be fighting or chatting or whatever. There's some kind of engagement. And I plan if they are going to fight, what they are going to fight. If they are going to chat, how they are going to chat, or in what direction that chat can go. So it just goes like wider from 2 or 3 scenarios, and then it goes in 74 scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
And you plan all that stuff. And then you have players who say, for example, right, let's not go over that bridge, let's go under it. You're like, okay, why? Because we don't want to we saw the guys and we don't want to engage. We will go on the other side. Then you have to improvise and think of how deep the river is. What water is it cold, or is it blah 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 whatnot, and how they're going to fix it. And how do you go over it? Are the guys from the top are going to see them, and how that engagement goes? That everything goes on a go.
Wow, so you can best case have like a rough idea, but the team will definitely screw with you.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. The best advice I got from Dungeon Master that I played with for 2 years is that you plan on starting point and an event. Whatever happens in between, you better need to learn how to improvise, and that's it.
Wow. Well, that's definitely a great suggestion, especially with what you just shared. When it comes to dungeon masters or game masters, I would assume there is a variety of quality, and because people are, well, different. In the D&D community, are there some people who are known to be like amazing game masters, or is that still something which is not so, I would say, established in that sense, like for branding purposes?
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Well, the most famous one is Matt Mercer. Matt Mercer is quasi-leader of Critical Role.
Oh,
most famous show.
I know the channel.
Yeah, most famous D&D show. That guy is, I mean, they are all professional voice actors. And that guy is nothing short of amazing. Their whole, I mean, people who play D&D are well familiar with them. Another great DM is Brandon Lee Malgan, who is leading, let's say, a D20. Phenomenal game master. Maybe in some cases I even prefer him to Matt because he knows how to bring that. He knows how to bring tears out of the players. Let's put it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Seriously? Wow.
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, for Get get the chance to see or just hear or see, never mind, his sessions in Alexandria. I think it is called Calamity. There was like 4 sessions that were preceding the season 3 of Critical Role. And I think there's 10 sessions. I can't remember very well. It was like a year or 2 years ago. That story that he made was one of the best, if not the best story I've heard. Like definitely, not just in D&D, but in books and stuff like that, games and stuff.
Wow.
And at the finale of the whole mini campaign, you can see the dice roll has impact on the whole story. So the story, never mind, I'm a bit spoiled.
Yeah, don't spoil it so that people
Yeah,
can watch it. I assume it's something you can watch on YouTube.
Yeah, definitely. They are
So
all
definitely suggestions for all of our listeners. Go and watch the Calamity sessions and let us know if you cried and how much you cried.
definitely at the end. Come on.
Wow, that is definitely amazing. And I mean, how impactful I would say, or maybe how famous Critical Role is, tells the fact that I know about them and I'm not like a board game player myself. I would love to, but I am severely hindered by the fact that I don't have like a full group ready to play. I don't have so much time. And I'm always questioning myself, is it like the spur of moment? For example, right now I'm talking to you and I'm thinking, man, I have to try D&D. I have to play D&D, where I'm like fully fired up and hyped up about it. And then I would get the, let's say, bad or mediocre GM. I would be like, no,
Definitely.
it's nothing for me.
Definitely.
So that is also an issue now that I think about it. Like a DM can spark that will to play more or just completely turn it off.
Absolutely. My initiation in D&D was one-shot session. That's a session. That's a story that starts and finishes in 4. I found the guy at Roll24. I didn't know he was professional DM, meaning the guy actually people pay for him
Wow.
to do the whole session. And he had like, I guess, promotional. Can't remember actually his name. The whole session, the whole 4 hours of the session had me head of goosebumps because that guy brought the atmosphere of setting to it wasn't perfect. It was above the perfect because when we finished the sessions, I was so hyped. That hype is keeping me going to this day. Trust me, that was amazing. And
One
then
hell of an initiation.
after that, we had this GM. We had this so-called campaign, which lasted for 4 months, 4 or 5 months. I'm not sure. It was terrible. And I was the time, like I said, I was noob and I didn't know how everything's going to play on. And he, for example, had tendency to give homebrew items, meaning items that he created, which essentially break the game. You take that item and you win whatever the fuck you want. Like, oh, sorry, I swear. Anyhow, after that, played some West March server. West March is a server where have multiple GMs, multiple players who play session at a time, which all tie in into a whole world. So there can be 5 sessions at a time, and they all impact the whole world. And I played for quite a few times. And that was one of the greatest experiences I had in D&D. I think I told you a few days ago that character of the guy was yeah, that I was playing, and we had this whole animosity between us. And then after quite a few sessions, I got my character and character of that guy died together as brothers. But they were fighting the whole time, and then they died for each other. And
Wow.
those types of interactions, which are scarce to be fair, are what keeps me going at the end.
Wow. That is quite amazing, honestly. But before we wrap all of this up, what would you suggest for a person interested in D&D and board games? What should they do? How should they?
Depending on your time, if you have enough time to start a campaign, that would be good, but you need to check the DM thoroughly, honestly. If you don't have enough time, you should start at West March. And maybe that is the best type of transition to some serious play, because in West March you can try and build a character around your guy, but since the players are interchanging constantly, you don't have the chance to bring out the full character of what you create, but in campaign you do. Problem is with campaign, you get to see where that is going. Is it good or bad after a half year of playing? So if you don't have that much time, I suggest West March until you get the grips. Of course, Player's Handbook, Dungeon Master's Guide, his books, main books. For the people who don't own books or don't want to own books, 5e Tools is a great site which has all the information regarding Dungeons and Dragons, including monsters and stuff. So yeah, I guess that is the pretty good beginning. The love of God, please have imagination. Because without that, you will play a video game, and that's just waste of your time.
Yeah, I understand that. How much do you incorporate your persona, like your real life persona, into your D&D characters? Or do you aim to be like the complete opposite of what Sanjin is in real life compared to what Cultus is in Dungeons and Dragons?
That is also very. The first, I was projecting my persona in a lot of ways in my character. But then after you play a character, you see that essence of D&D is not that. Essence of D&D is being something, at least for myself, it's being something that you are not. Getting out of your box, out of the walls that you have built over the years, and doing something totally different. It doesn't have to be, I don't know, if you are big, don't have to be, I don't know, small, or if you are straight, you don't have to be gay and stuff like that. But if you want, you can. Now, my first characters are somewhat similar to me. Afterwards, I said, okay, let's see how would it be if I play something totally different. Then one of the characters that I played for a long time, Pigs, was born, which
Uh-huh.
was freaking goblin who has somewhat of AD, attention disorder, and
ADD?
yeah, ADD, and has like this tendency to stick his nose where it doesn't belong and experiment and shit. The stuff that I don't tend to do. And right now, I find challenging playing something that I am definitely.
That's great. So one thing that just came into my mind, how so when you play with other people, uh, is the main character syndrome an issue that occurs? It is,
Oh
right?
hell yeah! Main character syndrome is there's no game which I have played that there are no at least 3 out of 5 guys that are trying to be main character in the story. That's where Dungeon Master has to come and play through the story, show that we are all main characters. We are just happen to be together.
I see.
People, that is one of the reasons why I played Figs. Because he is definitely not main character. He doesn't want to be main character. He's something that he was comedic relief to the
Huh.
whole story. In
Uh-huh.
a way that it doesn't break the immersion. No. When you think of engineer Goblin,
Hmm.
for example, think due to the long years of playing World of Warcraft, I tend to think those guys that half of the time something blows in their faces.
Exactly.
That is engineer Goblin, and that goes into the story, no matter how serious it is. And when you have character that doesn't try to be main character, he naturally becomes main character
Yeah,
because
you are right.
he draws his attention to him, not in an aggressive way, but in natural way. Imagine this. So we were playing West Marcella, and I played Goblin Engineer, and my friends at the time played different classes, Warriors, Warlock,
The mages, rogues,
very
all that.
yeah, stuff like that. We did this whole thing where we deserved, actually they deserved, audience did the king's place. Now he entered the hall, huge hall, marble floors, marble pillars, a lot of people there, whole reception thing. King was standing on a throne, 3 feet, 3 meters, like pedestal.
Okay.
Beside him was a queen, all his guard. And then we, the rugged crew, come up to him. He came down the stairs. And he said to the leader of our
Hmm.
crew, he said, because he was in some relations with the kingdom and stuff like that, said, okay, you have earned your pence. Now you will receive keys. The king was starting to give him the keys, handing out the keys. He was on knees and stuff like that. And because my character, the goblin, he is short, of course. He like pushed them both aside, the warrior and the warlock that were standing and kneeling, pushed him aside, and he extended his hand, took the key, and said, "Thank you, sir," and just ran like it was nothing. That kind of interaction is what D&D is about. It is comedic relief at the moment, but it goes with the character. He's a dumbass. What do you expect him to do? You know?
Great,
Yeah.
amazing stories. One more question before we wrap it up, and it is, you said you are a father. Do you aim for your kid or kids to be also introduced to board games, or are they showing interest into it, or maybe classic games, or the more modern games, or gaming in general?
Son was 9 years old. I was 5.5, as she would say. Um, and I actually played together. He has his own PlayStation, I have mine. We play games together. We play I don't know, First Son, stuff like that. He is introduced, of course, measure that I find healthy for him. Because, the whole modern kids they are on the phone or on PlayStation or whatnot.
True.
Fully to the that I was long time playing basketball. He started to play basketball. He's
Nice.
actually in me in a lot of ways.
Great.
He started playing basketball, so that's kind of balance
Mm-hmm.
for the game. But yeah, he is introduced in the games. He plays games. I don't mind, to be honest, at all, because that's how society works right now. So yeah, I've tried to play Dungeons and Dragons. Of course, very simplified version of Dungeons and Dragons with him, but that was for the main reason that I wanted him to develop his imagination, because
Great.
kids nowadays have pretty much zero imagination. They don't develop it in a way that we did back in the day. I mean, stick for us was start from the sword
True.
and whatnot.
What do you think
yeah.
is the main reason for that? That they don't develop? Because you are completely right. I mean, my sister has a kid, and I definitely do see, I mean, he is 4 years old. So I definitely do see like the difference when we were kids. So of course, I don't remember how I was when I was 4, but I do remember that the imagination, as you said, like a stick for us was like Excalibur. But for them, it just seems like, oh no, I just want the short content, be it like YouTube Shorts, TikTok, Instagram, and just like the quick input without even thinking.
Now, if the other perspective, sociology by profession, kids nowadays don't have opportunity to develop imagination. Why? Because in me as a father, I grew up, me years of my life, I grew up during the war here in Bosnia, and we didn't have a lot of things to play with. We had to imagine things. We had to improvise. We had to do. So that was need that pushed us to develop imaginations. They do not have the need. They have everything and anything on the press of the button. That's why they don't develop this whole vivid imagination. Before my kid was born, back in 2004, I bought him like I think 70 or something cars, real cars, that toy car. When he was born in 2015, I gave him those cars, and he never even looked at them. But until this day, dude, when I got a car, when I was 9 years old, that was like I got the holy grail.
Oh,
we had
yeah.
million games with the cars. I still remember that when we used the chalk to chalk out the racing track on a pavement and used to race cars. Imagine the games involving cars in any game. Kids today, like you said, they enjoy short content, straight to the point content, and unfortunately, it is how it is. But that's consider that as some kind of quality evolution, but it's just natural process. I mean, our parents were telling us, "Oh, don't go out for too long. Don't sit in front of TV and stuff like that." We are telling our kids, "Don't be on PlayStation. Don't be on
phone
and stuff like that."
True. Such different generations.
Definitely, yeah.
True. Well, Sanjin, thank you so much for today and for being part of the Modern Gamer podcast. do you have like any closing words that you would like to share with our audience? Any advice, maybe for D&D, sociology, or anything else? Please do feel free.
Okay, so like I said at the beginning, of the fire, number one, as a business person, as a gamer, this is what I learned in this 41 year of my life. Everything in your life is about balance. If you manage to find balance, then you have everything. Anything can be achieved if you have balance of stuff. I mean, you can have, a lot of money, but that requires a lot of work, and that means a lot of small amount of free time, small amount of family. It is easier to have a lot of money than it is easier to find balance. And that's my pearl of knowledge that I keep with the whole.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let me thank you for inviting me.
Of
It
course.
was very, very enjoyable experience. I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much, Sanjin. And with those parting words, I would like to say once more, thank you, Sanjin, very much for joining us today. An amazing, amazing advice given to everyone, which is find the balance. And although it might sound easy, trust me, it is incredibly hard. I'm still searching myself to find the balance, to make sure that I have enough time for everything, because ultimately you do set your priorities, balance everything. Now, thank you everyone for joining us today. We'll see you next time on the Modern Gamer Podcast. Bye-bye.